All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Hobby CNC with Dave show. We got a good show for you tonight, I think. We got the Wolfman here. Going to be tagging the questions for me and all. I'm sure you guys will probably have some tonight, but have a real interesting young man on the show tonight who has a pretty dadgum cool story to tell about router bits of all things. So let me go ahead and bring him on. Please join me in welcoming Cody Elkins.
Hey
How
guys.
you how you doing? Let me. I'm gonna get you front and center here. There we go. Because nobody needs to see me in the Wolfman, but they know what we look like. But anyway, welcome, Cody. Thanks for agreeing to come on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. We're going to talk about router bits tonight. And before we get started, I guess I should say that I guess I don't know how long it's been, 4 weeks, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. I first saw you on a live stream that my buddy JR from Trade Skillers Anonymous was doing. It was one of those Friday night hangout things, I think.
Mhm.
And that's when I first saw you. And I have to, we talked about this last night when we were doing our tech check, but I kept hearing all this talk on these live streams and even in some of the Facebook groups about this thing called the Genie bit. And I'm like, what in the heck is a Genie bit? But then when JR had you on and you started talking about it, I thought, oh, I get it now. So I got to have this guy on the show and tell everybody about the Genie bit. So tell us a little bit about what's the whole, what's the deal behind the Genie bit? What made you get started doing the Genie bit?
Yeah, well, so I think first of all, this whole thing has just been completely organic, really. It all started with conversations on Facebook and talking about bits and thankfully, I've always had the ability and kind of the different options to make custom tooling for myself. I work at a aerospace and defense shop, and for years, we have to make custom port tools for our big 5-axis CNC machines, and um, working with them and kind of getting that relationship built over the years. I will.
Uh-oh, we got a little freezing up going on here. Let's see if he comes back here. Uh-oh.
Oh,
was doing a
oh,
bunch.
there you go.
Okay, you froze up there for a couple of seconds there, Cody. Just
Okay.
letting you know.
All right. So kind of going back, I was doing a bunch of production work on one of my belt-driven machines, and I just didn't have the rigidity that I needed. And I hate sanding with a passion. So I started experimenting with different bits, and I really liked the compression bits. And some of the issues that I was having is, on a normal compression bit, I have to go at least 300 thousandths depth of cut in order to engage both the up shear and the down shear. And I just wasn't able to do that on my machine. And so I started making a couple bits here and there and talking with one of my buddies online just about, the different tool geometries and what we should do. I made maybe 5 or 6 different iterations before I landed with the bit, and it worked really, really well. And so what I did is I shared it with the community and told them what I was doing.
Uh-oh, freezing up again.
And what I was working on, and everyone was like, "Man, I think that."
Yeah, we're having, just make sure you're aware, Cody, we're having some connection issues on your end there.
Yeah. So, anyways, I I hosted one group buy, and and it organically took on there. You know, talking about the Genie about it is because I developed the bit, I gave it the part number 8675309 because I thought it was funny and I thought it'd be easy to remember. And it was actually the CNC community who named the bit Jenny, and it just stuck. And so since then, all the bits that I've released after the original one, they've all been requests from the community, and they too have also named every bit since then. And so that kind of in a nutshell is how this whole thing started. I was just trying to manage rigidity issues on my belt-driven machine, and it worked really well. And so I decided to share it with everybody.
Okay, awesome. And just so everybody knows, your website, which there is a link down below in the description, but it is Cadence Manufacturing and Design. I hope I got
Yeah,
that right.
cool.
Um, so tell us, so you came up with the Jenny bit, and it kind of took off, and now I've got your website open right here, and I'm looking, and I see like about 6 different ones. So you've been, I guess, just taking that one thing and going straight on to something else,
Mhm.
and just continue to create more and more new products.
Yeah, and that in and of itself. So, you know, anybody who works in manufacturing, like they could probably attest to this, but going from like a concept or an idea, um, to the prototyping to testing to getting it into the hands of consumers, like that takes a really really long time. It just takes forever. And man, for
Jr.
some
Jr.
reason,
Jr's telling you to put another quarter in the internet slot.
yeah, it's funny. Um, so I don't know, man. The only way I can just kind of describe it is it's got to be like a God thing, because everything was just lined up, and everything just kind of fell into place, and it's been, you know, a total blessing and a blessing in disguise. And I had no idea that it would turn into what it is today. I mean, it's only been a year. As of this month, a year ago is when I had the very first Jenny bit, and since then it's turned into what it is now with 6 different bits. Yeah, so it's fun and it's exciting, and I love nerding out on it and being in the community and helping, and just doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited.
Okay, I'm looking over here at your website. So the original Jenny, because you've got a bunch of different names, and I'll let you talk about all those here in a minute too. But the original Genie, I guess,
Yeah.
is the compression that where you're just using
Yes, sir.
the 100 thou uh, upcut part.
Hmm.
Um, and that is, by the way, I got the bits you sent me the other day, and I did not get a chance to try them out today. But I've got a project video I got coming up, and I'm going to use both of these on that.
Awesome.
But that is just to me, uh, something really cool about that bit is because now like you said, you only have to go what, an eighth inch down or so to get past that certain
Yeah.
spot, where on these other bits you got to go a lot farther than that. So
Hmm. Yeah, and the nice thing about that is it allows you to, like you said, only it only requires a minimum depth of cut of an eighth inch, and in doing so, it allowed me to take, you know, several passes without overtaxing my machine. You know, and since then, you know, I've upgraded and got, you know, another bigger, you know, more rigid machine, and even after that, it's amazing how much harder I've been able to push it, and just kind of learn the different feeds and speeds with, you know, a belt driven machine versus, you know, a non belt driven machine. And it's been great, man. It's been awesome.
okay, all right. So let's, like I said, I'm looking over on your website here, and I see 6 different ones. So you want to run through those? Or like we talked about, the compression is the the
Sure.
Genie with with the 8675309 part number, which I love. That's just great. Um, so what's tell us about the downtown Genie.
So the downtown Jenny, it's a down shear cutter. I make it both in 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch. And that, those are great for doing pockets, shallow pockets. With the Jenny bit, you have to do a minimum depth of cut of an 1/8 inch. But if you're doing a pocket that's less than that, it works just like an upcut. So, naturally, the next thing that I wanted to offer was having those down shear bits as well. So, because there is no minimum depth of cut on the down shears.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, so you said you make the okay. Well, tell me. I think you mentioned this when we were talking last night. What is different about your downtown Jenny as say if I was to get one from like Whiteside or
Mm-hmm.
CMT or somebody like that? What's the big difference? Because I know you talked a little bit about this last night. I think
Mm-hmm.
um, some
So,
things you're doing a little different than everybody else.
so one thing that I do for all of my bits. So working in the industry that I do, um, I use the exact same high quality carbide on the Jenny bits that we use on all of our aerospace and defense parts. Um, so the quality of the carbide is really good. The thing that I do that's unique with all my Jenny bits is, I'm keeping like the hobby grade CNC machines in mind, right? So I try to incorporate as much rigidity into the bits as I can. So on all of my bits, I give them a larger core diameter, which is nice because with the larger core diameters, it helps eliminate some of the harmonics and vibrations, which will yield to better finishes. And then the other thing that I do too is I put that zirconium nitride coating on all of the bits that I make. And what I love about that is it has really high lubricity value. And as we were kind of talking last night, is heat is the number one thing that will break down the cutting edge on any cutter. It doesn't matter what you're using. If it's getting hot, you're breaking down that cutting edge. And so the zirconium nitride actually helps evacuate the chips faster, which carries the heat away, which makes the bits last longer. And so those are a couple things that I believe are unique to the Jenny bits that I do on all of them, regardless if it's a compression bit, the tapered ball nose, the skinny Jenny, or the downtown Jennies.
Hmm. Okay, now I don't. I know we talked about this some last night, but I don't think you've mentioned it yet tonight. Tell everybody, because I know a lot of people are probably looking at you, going, "Man, look at this young guy. How does he know how to do this stuff?" So, give us a little background of your work experience and how you know how to design these bits like this.
Sure. So I was really fortunate. When I was in high school, I took the entire welding program at Yavapai College, and I did TIG, MIG, arc welding. I did it all, and I finished the entire program before I graduated high school. And so I landed a job as an aerospace welder at the age of 17 at a machine shop where I grew up in northern Arizona. And it led from one thing to the next. I started off doing welding, and then I got into doing sheet metal work and doing CNC machining. I got into the quality side of things, became the quality manager, and eventually ended up as a quality engineer. That's what I do now. But I've been in manufacturing since I was a teenager. My very first job, I was 16 years old, welding crap together, just gluing stuff together. I loved it. So that's
Hmm.
kind of how it all started and how I got into the whole, machining and manufacturing. And my passion kind of just followed me home. So now I have, a couple of machines here in the garage, and I got a laser machine right here next to me. I do a lot of laser work. But the other thing too is I don't know, I just nerd out on robots and stuff like that. So my son, he was actually part of a high school robotics team, and that was a lot of fun because I was one of the mentors, and I got to help the kids learn how to build robots for competition. And we used all these machines here in the shop to help them build these robots and compete. And so yeah, that's kind of, it's my hobby and it's my profession, and it's just kind of who I am, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds pretty cool. All right, so you say you have two CNCs. I think they're behind you there in the other room. What kind of
Yeah.
CNCs? I mean, I know because you told me already, but just so everybody else knows
So
what
so
kind of
I got a
CNCs you run.
Onefinity. That's my go-to machine. Man, I love that sucker. And then I have a Shapeoko 2, which I've done a ton of production work on both of them. They're both workhorses. But I got that, and then I have a Thunder Laser that I'm rocking. But it's funny. You had Bob on your show. I think it was last Saturday, and my
Mm-hmm.
very first machine um, was a Bob CNC, and I just sat in my kitchen table putting that sucker together, and I'm pretty sure my fingers are still bleeding from it. But
Yeah,
so many nuts and bolts and screws
yeah.
and parts.
I
But
think
but it was,
I'm not sure. I think Bob's like, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, Bob's out there.
He's lurking around in the chat there. How you doing, Bob?
yeah, I've had several email correspondences with Bob when I was building my first machine, and that's what it all started. It was with the Bob CNC, which I thought was pretty cool when you talked to him last week. I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
neat.
yeah. Bob's a good dude. I like Bob.
Yeah.
Keith's okay. You know, I could probably tease and say that because he's probably not watching, but I know Bob's watching. But yeah, they're good. They're good folks. All those folks at Bob CNC are good folks.
Yep.
Uh, all right. I tell you what, I don't want to set on these questions too long because I know a lot of them they're asking as you talk and things come up. So, Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and hit some of these, and if you'll keep an eye out for the ones that keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mark said, let's see, is this a question? I guess it's more of a comment. He says, I have some suggestions for CNC thread milling bits. Manufacturers haven't kept up with the possibilities for home shop.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, Mark, but
So thread mills are awesome. I use them all the time at the shop. It's cool because they make several different types. They have a single point thread mill that you use to actually cut the threads into your material. And it's nice because if you have a good controller, you can control the minor diameter and the major, well, not so much minor diameter, but the major diameter just by doing a cutter comp of the tool. And so they make the single point ones, and then they make I think it's like a Cobb style cutter. But I don't think I've ever seen them in wood shops. So I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting. I think you might be onto something there.
yeah, yeah. Mark, have you got some suggestions for Cody here for a Genie thread bit or something? Let him know what you're looking for. And Bob, I hit this a while ago. He says, "Do you give volume discounts for your bit?" So tell Bob and everybody else right now if a person wants to get some Genie bits, how do they go about?
Yeah.
How
So
can they
so
get
right
them?
now, I work really closely with Onefinity, and Onefinity they carry all the bits right now. They offer a lot of the twin packs and double packs and different bundle deals. So they're selling that through their website, and then on my website, I'm selling everything just individually for now. As I'm still building the Jenny line, there's going to be more stuff that I add to it. So once I kind of finish the Jenny line, then I'd probably look into doing um, more bundle deals type of thing. I'm not sure yet. I need to kind of just see how that plays out. But other than what I have on my website and the stuff that Onefinity's selling, I don't really have any other bundle deals per se. But that doesn't mean that we can't. I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm learning as I go. I've only been into this for about a year now, so yeah. I think there's all kinds of opportunities and potentials.
Okay. And just, I think we had another question here somewhere. Well, I thought I saw it, but I don't see where it's at now. Oh, here it is. Todd's HCNC says, "Are you making the bits at work or farming them out?"
No, so the companies that I've worked with for years to make all my custom tooling, those are the guys who I'm having them make it for me. So we don't have the right CNC grinders to do that at the shop I work at now. So I'm having that made right here in Tempe, Arizona. So
But you
yep.
still kind of oversee the quality control of them and stuff like
Oh
that. I
yeah.
mean,
So
you're going to see every one before somebody gets it in
mhm.
their hand, right?
So it's nice because the machines that they're using, they actually have a Renishaw probe that's inside the machine. And so basically what that does is, you'll load up the machine, it'll have the blank carbide in there. It'll go in there and it'll measure the actual bit, and it'll measure the wheel pack. So every single bit, there's a lot of quality built into the process. So from the very first one to the last one, it's going to be consistent on the overall dimensions and the tolerances that are programmed into the machine. It's an amazing process, really. I love it's like watching a campfire, have watching those machines make the bits. It's pretty awesome.
Hmm.
And then after the fact too, they the inspection equipment they use a lot of comparators to measure and monitor the processes they're being manufactured. And then they also have laser scanning machines too, where they throw it in there and it'll literally laser scan the entire bit and measure it within millions of an inch. So the
Hmm.
technology is it's cutting edge. It's incredible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Harry Ragland says, "How much face of cut do these offer?"
I'm not sure I quite understand.
I well, I'm thinking he might be talking about because you mentioned you use a little bigger core, so I'm wondering if that's what he's
I
talking
think
about.
it's the depth of the cutting area is maybe what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
So, well, if we're talking about the depth of cut, really it comes down to what your machine can handle, you know. So like if I'm out there on my Shape Oko, I can't take a super heavy depth of cut. The machine just it can't handle it. If I'm on my Onefinity, I've done full depth of cut on half-inch Baltic birch, and I cut it like butter. I've had other people send me videos. They're using more industrial type machines. I think it was a CAD cam machine. I don't know. It's got a big bumblebee on it or something like that.
Probably a Cam Master.
Cam Master, something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So there,
probably what it is.
and man, that guy, he was rocking it full depth of cut at 400 inches a minute. So really, it comes down to the machine rigidity on what your depth of cut can be.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does. Let's see. Hamilton says some dude online said that the downtown Genie's an Amano killer.
Oh my god.
I saw that. I think I did see that dude online say that.
Yeah, so Hamilton did a comparison video, the Jenny bit, the downtown Jenny against the Amana bit. And I knew he was going to do it. I didn't know when he was going to do it or when he was going to release it. So when I saw it, I was pleased with the results of the video. And I don't know, Hamilton, he cracks me up. His sense of humor gets me. So I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I watched that too. That was funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jr.
Thanks for
has
that, Hamilton. It was awesome.
Yeah, Jr. has a question. He says, "Cody, can you elaborate on how the Genie bit, the compression bit configuration differs from other compression bits?"
Well, I can't speak for what the other bits are, but I can tell you what I put into mine. I know that I have another compression bit here, and the upshear geometry was like 200 thousandths. I think that might be typical. It might change from manufacturer to manufacturer. I believe that they do make other types of compression bits that do have the shorter up shear, but I've never used them, so I couldn't say. But with mine specifically, the up shear geometry is it's 100 thou. The transition point from the bottom of the face of the cutter to where the down shear starts, it's about, I think it's about 80 thousandths, if my memory, I think it's 80 thou. So there's about a 20 to 25 thou overlap between the up shear and where the down shear starts. The overall length, well, the cut length is 1 inch on the Genie bits, which is nice. I cut a lot of 3/4 inch Baltic birch, so having that extra flute length it's nice to have. But the configuration, how it differs from the others, I really don't know.
Okay, let me real quick, because I've got this
So I hope
one.
that's satisfactory to your question.
I've got this one in my hand here, so let me see if I can do this just for a second. And if I hold this up and get the camera focused, you can see that it's got a much shorter distance. I should have brought one of my other ones to compare. You can see that there's, even if I turn this slowly, maybe you can see it. I don't know. I don't know if that's showing up good enough or not. But yeah, you can see that it's clearly, I guess 100 thousandths or something like that.
Yeah,
and then you see it transition into the other.
So this is not a Genie bit. You can see maybe, I don't know if you can see how long that up shear is. It's long. It's 250 thousandths on this bit.
Mm-hmm.
But those are some of the things that were, and then the other thing too is I don't know what the core diameters are of the other bits, but I know that I specifically made mine beefier just to make it more rigid and to handle some of those harmonics.
Okay. All right. Moving right along here. Jason has a question. He says, I have a question. Since you are coating everything with ZRN, they should be well suited for aluminum or aluminium for our friends across the pond. You plan on a single flute, 3 flute, etc., more soft metal specific end mills. Okay, I guess that's what he's asking. If you plan on kind of delving into the aluminum side of things.
So as of right now, I have the compression bits, I have the down shear bit, I have the tapered ball nose. The most current project that I'm working on right now are the V bits, which I'm super excited for the V bits. I think they're going to be game changers. I really do. And we can talk about that a little bit later if you want. But I do plan on adding a couple just regular up shear type end mills to go along with the Genie line, which would be zirconium nitride coated, which would be good for aluminum and wood. So the answer is yes. I just don't know exactly when. I need to kind of finish up some of these other projects that I've been working on. But as soon as I do, I'll let you know, Jason, for sure.
And I would guess, that pesky day job kind of gets in the way of doing the stuff you really want to be working on.
I love my job. I love what I do and the guys that I work with. We've worked together for years. But really, my passion, I want to be able to do this, full time. Because right now I'm working full time, married, have 4 kids. We homeschool. We're super busy, and then on top of all of that, I'm doing the bit, development, and just trying to take care of the community and making sure I have parts in stock, bits in stock, and then still doing my laser and CNC work. So yeah, it's only a matter of time, I think, before I can start doing this full time. But I'm just going to keep chopping wood until that time comes. So
yeah.
How old are your kids?
So I have a little girl. Her name's Abigail. She's about 6 months now.
Good deal.
Then I have another little
Congrats.
girl named Eliza. Her nickname's Peanut. She's 4, and then I have a 5-year-old named Evelyn, and then my son Alden, he's 17. So.
Okay.
Good deal. Yeah, all those girls, man.
Oh,
Be
dude, I'm in
prepared.
trouble.
Be prepared. It's coming. The gray is
Yeah.
coming. It's gonna come hard and fast, dude.
That's right. Man, they're so awesome. I love those kids so much. And my wife, man, I got to give a major shout out to my wife because she does such a good job teaching those kids, and it's awesome. It's good stuff.
Deal. Good deal. All right, we got a question from Mr. Alan Heffernan, I guess is how you say his last name. How you doing, Alan? He says compression bits are often touted as bits for plywood, and yeah, I would agree with that. What is your view for the uses for the Genie?
So, yeah, I would agree 100%. I think originally compression bits were, designed around controlling the chip out when you're cutting, plywood. But for me, and when I was doing like my redneck engineering, I was just kind of using what bit worked. And so when I was doing all these production, jobs and I use a lot of whiskey barrel wood. And that's what I designed the Jenny bit around, was to make all of these cubes that I make on my machine. They're not plywood, and it worked really well. So my humble opinion is, yeah, absolutely. Compression bits work fantastic on plywood, but I use them all the time in other hardwoods too and get really good results. As long as, especially on the Jenny bit, as long as you go that 1/8 inch depth of cut, you should be fine. But there's an argument to be made that there's probably better bits for that, and that's why I started making the downshear bits also. But for me, I use the Jenny bit on 90% of everything I do. It just works. So I roll with it.
Okay. Thanks for that question, Alan. Let's see. We got another one from Mark here. Or is this a question or maybe another comment? It says, he's talking to Harry. He says, Vectric added a thread milling tool path to the software that does that. The problem is getting tools for wood. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I want to look into that. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Let's
Let's see. Four Peaks Woodworks. I'm not familiar with who that is, but you may know him. It says, can you divulge what new end mills you have planned?
So like I said earlier, I want to offer some 1/8 inch, up shear end mills, or up shear bits, whatever you want to call it. Some 1/4 inch up shear bits also. I want to include like a 1/4 inch ball end mill to go along with the tapered ball nose. I know a lot of people like to use 1/4 inch ball mills when they're roughing, doing their 3D relief before they use their tapered ball nose. So I definitely want to add that to the list. The V-bits is what I'm working on right now. And that one, I think it's going to be a juggernaut. So forever, I've been using 90-degree and 60-degree V-bits. And everything that I've been buying, a lot of times it was, 2-flute brazed carbide, which is great. It's been working for a really long time. But I don't think people really, these other big bit manufacturers have been thinking outside the box. I don't know, maybe they didn't see the maker movement coming. But what I've done is I've actually developed, I think it's the world's first downshear V-bit. And so I've had the test bits, the beta bits made. The testing was phenomenal. The very first test cut I did was on some ore mask, and it was flawless. The lines looked really good. I didn't have any lifting of the masking. I didn't have any of that, chip out effect. And that was all done on a 1/4 inch shank. But the bits that I'm working on now, they're actually going to be 3/8 diameter, 3-flute downshear V-bit. And the thing that I've also am doing that's really unique is if you can imagine, if you were to draw a circle on a piece of paper, right? And then you were to draw each line 120 degrees from each other, representing, the flutes of a V-bit, all three of those points go to the center. And I think a lot of times what happens on the two flute brazed carbide V-bits is the very tip of them, both of those flutes go to the center. And so as soon as you start cutting, I think you lose, well, the tip really doesn't cut. It just kind of plows through the material. And so what I'm doing on my V-bits, on my 3 fluters, is I've actually relieved 2 of the flutes back, so only 1 flute goes to the center. And so the unique thing about the V-bits that I'm designing right now is, yes, they're going to be down shear, which I think is phenomenal, but 2, it's going to act like an engraving tool at the very tip. So when you're cutting your stars, say you're making a union on a flag, all of the stars, the very bottom of it, you'll have super crisp lines going down, and then you'll have a really nice finish with the other 3 flutes removing the material. And then I'm going to include the same ZRN coating on that too, so it'll help evacuate the chip and keep heat away from it, and I think it'll last for a really long time before it starts getting dull on you.
Mm-hmm.
So those I'm super, super excited. I'm probably about a month out before I can offer it to the community. So I've done all the beta testing. I've actually sent it out to other people to do testing. A big shout out to Lane and Mitz. They've been pushing the V-bit and seeing what she can do, and they've been really happy with it. So I just got to finish getting them made on the 3/8 diameter. Oh, and I should probably add, it's going to be 3/8 diameter V-bit on a 1/4 inch shank. So it'll be able to fit in all of our machines.
Okay, cool.
And
real
yeah,
quick, I want to give a shout out to JR. He's hit up with another, I guess that's a super chat or something. So thank you very much for that, JR. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, JR is awesome, man.
Yeah, he is. I've watched a ton of his videos, and I noticed that he just did one. I think it came out yesterday or the day before, and it was about him putting the spindle.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Makita on, and I think the brushes needed replacing, so he was showing how to wire the spindle on and everything. He's really upped his YouTube game. For somebody who was a little reluctant to get into YouTube, he's killing it. So good job, JR. Appreciate the super chat too, buddy. Thank you. All right, let's see what else we got over here.
Those V-bits really sound awesome. I can't wait for that.
Man, you have been working on this for months. It's been hard not talking about it, but now it's like I'm at the 10-yard line. It's like, yes. And by the way, so on this too, just like all my other bits, I don't ever want to lose that grassroots feeling. So I'm going to throw it out there and have people choose some names for it, and then we'll all vote on a name for the bit as a community. So I don't know what the name is going to be yet. That's still to be determined, but that's going to be chose from the community.
Okay, cool. All right, Harry says, I have lots of V-bits with very specific angles, 90, 60, 36. What do you see as an interesting V-bit? So, for example, you mentioned the down shear V-bit. So what are you thinking first to start with? A 90 degree, 60 degree, or?
Yeah. I'm starting with the 90 degree. I'm starting with the 90 degree, and then, in the evolutionary chain of developing these, I'll be doing a 60 degree after that one. And then I would like to do a 30 degree. I need to talk to the production guys and kind of see what we can do and see if that's feasible. Because I need to make sure that the tool geometry will work, having that forward down shear on a 30 degree angle. I'm not sure yet. But I would like to. A lot of it's just time and money. So I spent a lot of money on developing these suckers. So
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So soon as one's done, then once we start getting those out in the community, I'll just roll that into the next one. So that's kind of what I've been doing with all these bits.
Yeah. This question just popped into my head, so I'm going to ask my own question here. I look on your website and I see there's 6 different bits, and then you just mentioned that you've been working on the V bit thing you got coming. You've been working on that a while. So typically, how much time and development does it take to come up with one of these? I mean, I'm sure probably some are quicker than others, but
Well,
you haven't really been at it this long, and you've got 6 of them on the website right now, right?
yeah, and again, it's I don't know how else to explain it other than it has to be a God thing. Like, because for everything to fall into place the way that it has in order to produce them so quickly, I think that's kind of unheard of.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to interrupt you for a second there. He hit me up with another super chat. Appreciate it, Mark.
Yeah.
He says, "Love the guests you've been having." I'm just glad I can get folks to come on. I got lots of. I'm talking to lots of folks. I just hope I can keep getting them to come on here, because not everybody wants to come be on a live stream. But yeah, we're lucky tonight to have Cody for sure. And thanks again for that.
I'm extremely honored to be on here with you. Truly, it's been great. So.
And everybody needs to go to Cody's site and buy a bunch of bits so you can put some trim around that door.
Oh, so you guys are in the command center. I just finished this maybe 6 months ago, and that's the last thing I got to do is I got to finish the trim on the on the inside. The outside looks good.
There you go.
Okay.
At least the drywall and the mud and the paint's done. So
yeah, I'll hear you.
Wolfman's just so picky. Look at him.
That's all right. Right outside the door.
I hadn't even noticed it myself.
In this corner right here, right outside the door, the whole upstairs of my house here is all done except for that corner. It's like not mudded or painted. It's a
it's funny, man. My wife
piece of drywall.
My wife has me doing so many projects around the house. Like it's hard to really focus on this stuff when my wife really wants other stuff done first. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that. All right, JR says, I found the Genie works excellent in any profile cut situation, hardwoods as well as plywoods. Yeah. Well, I'm going to find out because, everybody knows I cut some plywood a little bit anyway. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be using these 2 brand spanking new bits on a new project that I've got planned. So as soon as I get ready to do that, that'll be a YouTube thing. So everybody will get to see how those bits perform with that project. So let's see here. Todd's got another one here. He says another bit would be drill bits for routers.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I need to finish these V bits and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I just
actually, I also developed a drill mill for people who do cribbage boards. Mm-hmm. Those worked really well too. I sent those out for testing, but I was so gung ho on getting these V bits done. I kind of put that off to the side. I forgot about the drill mills, but those are just 1/8 inch, basically drill that has a 90-degree point on it. So that way, when you're drilling, it won't walk on you. So you can just plunge it fast and straight, and get in there for all your cribbage boards.
Mm-hmm.
Cribbage board makers, I guess.
Yeah, I see a lot of those in the Facebook groups, man. That's a really and I don't even know how to play the silly game, but that's a real popular thing these days.
Yeah, so I don't have that yet, but I know like Garrett from IDC Woodcraft, he just released an awesome cribbage board driller. It's pretty much the same thing. It's I think it's a drill mill, but I've seen and heard nothing but good things about that too.
Okay. Let's see. Harry's got another one here. He says, I use my CNC to do things that might best be done with a scroll saw. For this, I have some long 3 millimeter bits that are prone to breaking. Any thoughts on a truly thin bit?
Yeah, I've thought about it. There's been a lot of people asking me to develop like a 1/16th, down shear. Some people even ask me to do like a 1/16th compression bit. I don't know if that's even possible, but
Ooh.
I would like to get into some of the thinner stuff too. The thing is I don't know. They're so small and they're so fragile, and when you're pushing carbide that small of a diameter, I mean, look at it sideways or hit a knot, you might break it. But I don't know. That's something I would definitely like to add down the road. As of right now, I don't foresee anything soon, especially with you know the upshear bits and the V bits. But I think it would complement the Genie line to have something smaller to get into that detailed work.
Okay. And finally, here we got another comment from Mark. It says, the difference, Cody, is that you use the bits on a hobby machine, so you see how they're used in real life. Most bit companies don't use anything but industrial machines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of truth behind that. But I mean, I can't speak for those other companies. Who knows? They probably have a team of people doing exactly what we're doing now. But
Greg's got a suggestion for the V-bit name.
oh gosh,
Voluptuous Jenny.
I got to keep it G rated, man. It's
Yeah.
I like the innocent girl next door Jenny with kissing a piece of paper, leaving a note on your car type of deal.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking through some of the comments over here. George has some good words for you here. He says you're just out of the ballpark. Love what you're doing.
Man, thank you.
Yeah,
Means
it's
a
just
lot.
an awesome story. Like when I, officially met you, I guess last night when we did our tech check, and heard your story, and of course, it's weird because the more we talk, the more you and I have a lot of things in common that we
Yeah,
didn't know
absolutely.
about when we first met there, or virtually met, or whatever you call it. I guess that's how everybody meets these days. Everything's virtual, but call it the Genie Feeve. Okay. Yeah,
Man, you know
you'll be
what?
getting all
I
kinds of
have
suggestions here.
I have so much fun. So like the last bit that I did, the Slim Gen, it's a 1/8 inch down shear on a 1/4 inch shank. Man, there were some really funny, clever names that people put out there. I was cracking up. Like it was funny. It was awesome. And it was neat too because I had my wife, I let her kind of help me pick the top 3, and then the community just voted on it from there. And it was crazy. There was like 300 votes I had to go through on just
Yeah.
the different names. And I
Todd
want to
mentions
do that again. So start thinking about names, and when the time comes, we'll put something together. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah. Todd mentions here that StuMac, which is they make a lot of stuff for luthiers. Uh, they either make, or he says, or sells them. I guess probably have somebody else make them
Yeah.
a 1/16th down cut. But I haven't even looked, Todd, but I'd be willing to bet that they're pretty proud of their stuff, because
Mm.
I usually don't buy a whole lot of stuff from StuMac, unless it's something I just can't get anywhere else, because they are really proud of their stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When
You
I
know,
think
I,
of
I think,
ordering I'm sorry. When I think of ordering a 16-inch bit, it breaks. I don't even have to
so
order it.
Yeah.
There's other guys too, though. I mean, the guys from Sky One, I think they offer some smaller diameter tools too. And IDC Woodcraft, I think they offer some smaller diameter stuff too. So anything that I don't have or use for myself, those are the guys I like to go to, because I don't know, I just like, community over competition type of deal. So I'd rather give my money to those guys than a big manufacturing company that is ungodly expensive. But so I'd look there too. I mean, I don't know for sure exactly what they offer, but I'm sure it's good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're getting lots of. This one says Genevieve. I like that one. I like that
Genevieve.
one because my daughter's named Jenna.
Hmm.
Veronica. Veronica. The flying
Veronica.
V. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what you come up with. So, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, you said you've been working on it a while. You think another month and you'll have the, or
So
you said you got some out kind of in beta testing right now, right? For the,
So the beta testing is pretty much done. There's a few little tweaks that I've been working on, but I've already pulled the trigger and everything's going at the manufacturer. So now it's just a matter of lead time. Um, and you were kind of asking a question earlier about how long does it take to kind of develop all this stuff. A lot of it has to do with the manufacturers too, because they're doing work for like Boeing and Honeywell and making custom tooling for all these guys. And so there's little old me trying to, get in there saying, hey, make me some more Jenny
yeah,
bits. And
yeah. I know exactly that feeling because, when I would try to get sheet metal parts done from a sheet metal shop, I'm like small potatoes compared to big customers. So it's like, whenever we can fit you in. So I totally get that. You
and that's
gotta
okay.
take it when
Like
you
I
can
said,
get it.
I've worked in manufacturing my entire adult life, so I understand lead times and due dates, and just trying to manage and the whole manufacturing process. So there's a lot of grace there. Those guys, they take care of me and they do a good job. So I have no complaints whatsoever.
Hmm. And plus, you don't want to just design one and then get it made and then go, okay, let's just turn this thing loose because you test them. You said you got two machines, a Onefinity and a Shapeoko, I think you said. So you're testing these yourself as well as putting a few of them out there in the field to for people to kick the tires with them and stuff like that. Did we
Hmm.
lose him again? Okay, he froze up there for a second again. You gotta love the internet. Yeah. Is he back? Okay, there he's back. Now
Yeah,
he's
I
back.
think I'm
Okay,
good. All right.
okay. But all right. Well, does anybody else have any questions? Ryan, have you poked any more over there in the thing, or did I get them all?
I think you got them all at the moment.
Okay. I do want to mention. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any. I do want to mention to the folks that are out there watching tonight. I appreciate every one of you, by the way.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention that I'm starting to, like I said, I'm always talking to people about coming on the show and stuff, and you know, I try to give people, as much notice as I can. So some of them might not come on for 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. But I'm also, I think it's been. I'd have to go look exactly, but I think it's been at least 4 weeks, maybe 5, maybe even 6. I don't know, since I did the last little show and tell thing. And I am starting to see, I'm always looking around in those Facebook groups and stuff, and I'm starting to get a collection of really cool projects again. So we will be doing another show on that uh, sometime here in the near future. depending on whether I have an empty spot with a guest or not. But those are always fun to do. And man, I'm telling you what, some of these folks out there, I just I'm just going to tell you, they're killing it. Some of them are.
Mm.
It makes me, I don't know what the right word is, envious, I guess, because I don't have that kind of creativity and stuff, but I just keep seeing these things, and some of them that I'm seeing a lot of. I think y'all are going to be surprised uh, when you see them and find out how they're making them. It's just amazing some work that I see out there. So you can look for that probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. We'll probably be doing another one of those shows. There was one guy, and I think I deleted it off of here because I kept forgetting to show it, and I don't even know if I could find. I'll look real quick since we got a few minutes to kill. We're right at an hour here.
Well, while you're doing that, George says that he's almost done with his Gatton build and is going to be going to Cody to buy a bunch of bits. That's awesome.
There you
Thank
go.
you, George.
There you
Yeah,
go.
man, thank you
Got
so
a-
much. You guys are
Got
awesome.
one on the line there, Cody.
Yeah, Cody, I think those V bits are going to be the ultimate game changer for you. I think you're going to explode with those.
Man, I'm super, super excited for them. Like I said, as far as I know, I don't think anyone else has done it. So we'll see. We'll see.
Somebody
Give me
the other
about 4
day,
weeks.
yeah, somebody the other day was talking about V bits in one of the CNC groups on Facebook, and they were posting like, "Oh, which one of these should I get?" And of course, I was pointing them to the show to get your input on them, on like what they should be looking for or whatever. But the one V bit was really interesting. I saw because it wasn't just the V at the up there. It had a like curve after the V itself on the bit, and I had not
Really?
seen that on a V bit before, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
don't know if it did anything because it seemed to look like it was outside of the cutting area, but it was pretty neat. But your bits look absolutely beautiful. I don't know if it's just the photography or if the bits really look that awesome, but they do look really good.
They are.
I was
they look good.
I was joking with Dave last night. Like all of those little clips that I make and I share on Facebook, man, I do all that on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Like I literally I stick the bit in a drill motor, and then I put a black prop behind it and build up a little stand with 1, 2, 3 blocks and parallels, and put my phone on there, and then I'll just I use a little cant twist on my Ryobi drill, and I tighten it to where it just pulls the trigger hard enough to where it starts spinning. And then I'll take a video of it. And then once that's done, I'll go in there and do the editing and, put music to it and just kind of make it exciting and not so boring.
Awesome.
But I have a lot of fun making those clips. There's some pretty funny ones I've made.
Okay, it took me a minute, but I managed to find the video that I had this little banner made up. But this guy, if you want to see something that I think is pretty cool, you might not. But this guy right here, this is his YouTube channel, Tobias Werft. I don't know how you say his
I
last
think
name.
the F is silent.
Okay, Wirt. Okay, I'll go with that. I don't know. But anyway, he uses a CNC to make. Well, he started making them by hand, and of course, he's added a CNC. And I don't remember the brand of CNC he has right off the top of my head because it's been a month or two since I watched this. But he uses his CNC to make wooden climbing holds. And if you don't know what a climbing hold is, it's the guys that make these walls that where you climb them, and they have these little things that are shaped kind of like rocks or whatever, and he attaches them to a wall, and then he even has a wall where he leans it back, so that you're actually I'm not going to do that stuff, but I just thought it was really cool that he sells those climbing holds and was making them by hand, with some power tools, but a grinder with a big flap wheel or something on it. But then he, came up with the idea to make them with the CNC so that he could, just kind of automate the process. So anyway, check out that channel if you're interested in that. It's we're going to go with Ryan's pronunciation. We're going to call it Tobias Wirt with a silent N. Anyway, check that out. Pretty cool. And really, what got me where I found his channel is how these random things pop up, and he had made a enclosure for his CNC, and every time I see an enclosure, I always usually watch that video to see how they did it and stuff. That's what he was doing, is making an enclosure. I think mostly for the dust, more so than the noise. But and then I thought, well, what then I'm like going down the rabbit hole. I'm like, okay, well, what's he doing with this CNC? And then I thought, yeah, he's making these crazy looking parts. I don't know what is that. And then he showed it at the end that it's climbing holds. So shout out to Tobias there. He didn't know me from the Man in the Moon, but I'll give him a shout out anyway. So good job there. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Let's see. Anything else that I missed? I don't guess so. Okay. Well, I guess we're all done then. Cody, thank you for agreeing to come on here. I appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me. Truly.
I am definitely going to be on the lookout for upcoming bits, because V-Bits is one I use. All right, Greg said, "Oh, sorry, you already put that on there. What am I doing?"
Awesome.
It says, "Order sent Genie and her little sister, Mini Genie."
All right.
These names are just hilarious. I love the way it's it's not something boring like some big just regular description. It's much more fun to call them the Genie
I'll get
stuff.
I'll get it packaged this weekend and shipped to you Monday. So
All right. Well, thanks again, Cody, for coming on and telling us your story about the Genie bit and stuff. Thank you, Mr. Wolfman, for taking time out of your busy schedule. He was at a home show today, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So hope you have good luck with that.
I did find the one person doing CNC work at the home show, and we had a good conversation about machines, and she got excited when we started talking about bits.
Awesome. Okay.
That's awesome. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. All right. Well, I guess we'll get out of here then. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We've had a decent crowd over there tonight, and thanks again, Mark and JR, for the super chats. I appreciate you guys. Like I always say, it helps keep the lights on, and it's keeps things going for doing these shows. So I appreciate you. And if I can figure out how to hit the right button. I'm sorry, did you say something, Ryan?
Yeah, I was just gonna pop his website. I had his website in here. I was gonna pop it back up on the screen for anybody that wanted to go back out there and go order their own. Trying to find where I did it because I was just too lazy to type it in again.
Oh, okay. Well, I have. I didn't put the www in front of it, but it's Cadence Manufacturing and Design is the name of it. So if you just Google that, you'll find the website. In fact, it is. Well, heck, I got it right here. Hold on.
There it is.
Let me just do this right here. Well, I'll put it in here like this, and that'll take them straight to the shop where you can buy these things.
Perfect. Thank you.
So yeah, go get your Genie bits, and you can also be watching for a project video that I'm going to be doing, which will be featuring these two that I got, and pretty excited to. It's something new that I saw. Again, I don't have any imagination myself, but I always see it when I see somebody else do something. I'm like, oh yeah, I got an idea for something now. But so I'm gonna try it and see how it works. And these will work out perfect because I'm going to need good sharp bits for that. So anyway, we're going to get out of here, folks. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we will get ready to get out of here.
There you go.
Nice and bits. The man is poor kids. Yeah, amen. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all next week with. I don't even know who to tell you it's going to be the guest because I don't know yet. Maybe a show and tell, maybe a guest. We'll see. See what pops up. Anyway, y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cody.